Welcome to another episode of the Say Hey Jax podcast. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe on Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen. So, welcome back to another episode of Say Hey Jax. And I am your host, Shan, but I go by Sunny. And this is my friend Kate. And thank you so much for joining us today, Kate. I really appreciate you spending time with us and believing in this project. That is really amazing.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yay! And so you know the drill. Basically, all I'm going to do is ask you a little bit about how you got to Jacksonville, and then just some other questions about how you see the city going forward. So without further ado, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How'd you get here?
I'm from New England originally, and then I was living in New Jersey for quite a while, almost 11 years, not consecutively, but a good chunk of time. And I was in New Jersey, and I was thinking to myself, I want more out of life. And I put a list together of all the things that I wanted in life, what I thought God wanted for my life. And I just had this revelation of, I'm not going to get it in New Jersey. So I started just seeking the Lord, and I put it before him of, where do you want me to go? And Jacksonville came up. I looked at all the places in the U.S. where I had family, and Jacksonville stood out because my sister and brother-in-law have been living here since 2004.
Okay, wow.
So I just let myself daydream about it for a little while before I even talked to anybody about it. And I made the decision to move here. And it was a fresh start because I didn't look for a job first. I just kind of quit my job, and I gave them like 2 months notice, and I packed up my stuff. I made plans, and I moved here, the little U-Haul. And actually, that's not true. Not the U-Haul. I had movers move my stuff. But my car was packed full of stuff, and I drove down here with a full car and no home, no job. I was staying with my sister. And so that started an adventure for me. So that's how I came down here. And that was 5 years ago.
Girl, okay, so I'm just going to be real and raw right now. Like, I've known Kate for like about 3 or 4 years now, I think. Something like that.
Yes.
And I knew some of that. I did not know all of that. That's
Really?
so brave. Yeah, seriously.
Or dumb. I don't know how you want to look at it. But thank you. I'll take brave. I'll take brave.
No, super brave. And so then, okay, so then what did the first few months look like in Jackson? Like, I mean, when you got to Jacksonville, was it what you expected it to be?
No, because I didn't know how to relax, first of all. I was such a worker bee, and I got here, I had nothing to do. So I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I was like, I have to hit the streets looking for a job. And my sister and brother-in-law, they were like, I think you need to learn how to chill. You live like 10 minutes from the beach. You need to learn the beach mindset of just take a minute, take a chill.
That's good.
And I got like little jobs here and there. I actually ended up being a nanny for my first summer here, and that helped me so much to just relax. And I decided that I was going to enjoy being a part-time nanny and just enjoy where I was in life. And Julie and Dan were not, my sister Julie and my brother-in-law Dan were not in a hurry to get me out of the house.
Right.
You know, I made sure that I was a welcomed guest by taking out trash,
doing all
dishes,
the things.
making dinner once in a while. And we had such a great time actually living together. And my expectations were I was going to be there 3 to 4 months, and I ended up living with them for 13 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was personally like an adjustment for me. And the culture of Florida is definitely slower than the North. So that was an adjustment for me too. Getting used to, because I'm like a go, go, go. And that is not the way here.
Not at all. So then how are you? Okay, then I'm going to ask you, it's a yes or no question. I hate to do that, but do you like what do you like about that slower culture, or would you rather it be more fast paced?
No, I like the slower culture because I already knew that I needed change for myself. So this kind of, without me fully understanding the culture change that I was going into, it's good for me to slow it down and enjoy life, enjoy friends,
Mm-hmm.
enjoy. I love living where there are palm trees. I love that.
Oh, girl, me too.
I love that. I
Yes.
love taking walks on the beach.
Yes. 10 minutes away. I mean, good
Yeah.
grief. Like just right down the street and just get out of your car, take your shoes off, and like walk on the water. It's amazing.
Yes. So life is not all about work. It is not all about go, go, go and getting things accomplished. That's a big part of life, but it is not life.
Right. That's good.
So I learned that. That was my first year of really learning that. And then when I was blessed with a job, because I could not find an accounting job. I have a very good resume. I could not find an accounting job. And I really felt like, am I supposed to be here? Even my recruiter said, I asked her, I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to be in Jacksonville. And she's like, you get that too? I was like, oh boy, when your recruiter's telling you that.
I mean, what kind of recruiter? I don't know. No, it's fine. It's still green. You're good.
Okay. So I prayed and I asked the Lord and I said, Lord, I will go anywhere where you call me. So if you are calling me here to Jacksonville, I'm asking you for a job, a full-time job where I can use my skills as an accountant. And within a week, I had met someone at a house party and he knew of someone looking for an accountant. And I found a job as an accountant and I went for one interview, pretty much hired the next day. So it was a blessing and the timing it lined up. God has his timing.
He does. Okay, so then tell me this, because you're talking about you went to a house party. First you talked to the Lord, then you went to the house party, then you got the job. How do you build community? How did you, as like somebody from up north, come down here? You only have your sister and your brother-in-law. How did you build community?
It was in the mindset of slowing down and enjoying the atmosphere. It also came along with enjoying people who were around me.
Okay.
And I was meeting a lot of my sister's friends. They've been here a really long time, so they have established friendships. And I was kind of meeting their friends and taking their friendships on. Yeah. And that's just enjoying people and also knowing the gifts that God has me to minister to people, like with not in a ministry atmosphere, but just in a life atmosphere, ministry to people. And so making those connections that way.
Yes, very good. Very good. So then, okay, you've been here, you said 5 years now?
5 years.
5 years. Okay, so then why do you stay in Jacksonville?
I stay because that's actually a really good question. If I'm being fully transparent, last summer I almost left. I went back to New Jersey to visit some people, and I had such a warm welcome. And I missed it. I missed the people, and I always miss the people in New Jersey. They were I was on staff at a church, and they were not only my church family; they were my family. They would, I did life with them, and I really missed that. And I had such a warm welcome. I thought maybe I should go back to New Jersey. But my other sister, Christine, had already made plans to move down to Florida. And I thought, I can't leave now that both sisters are here. So that actually kept me grounded in Florida, because I know the Lord has me in Florida for a purpose. And, and he, it has not been an easy road. I love living where there are palm trees, but this has been a time of pruning in my life, actually, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Pruning. And when he gave me that revelation just the other morning, I thought, oh, no wonder life is so difficult.
Wow.
But what comes after pruning is the fruitfulness.
Come on, girl. That's right.
And that's what I'm walking into. And I have been walking into it, but I'm seeing it now.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it now.
Flourishing.
Yes, flourishing. Very good word. I love that word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what would you say to someone who is moving to Jacksonville and they're like, nope, that's where I want to be. I want to be in Florida. I've done my research. What won't the research tell them about this city?
Wear sunscreen. Wear sunscreen. Yeah, it is hot down here. And it is because when I was in New Jersey and I was looking at temperatures in summertime, and I was thinking temperatures actually aren't that different like
I've
90,
heard that.
90, 95 degrees. But what it doesn't tell you on that app is the humidity. I mean, it does in like a little fine print at the bottom of the screen, but it does not tell you the level of humidity.
That humidity indicator should be larger.
Yeah, it should be in red, bold red. So for people of fairer skin,
right,
that vitamin D can be a little dangerous.
Right, right.
So bring sunscreen.
Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself.
And I guess it depends on where the person is coming from.
Okay.
We have such so many different cultures. This is America. We are a blended society. The crock pot of the world. So it depends on where you're coming from in the US, and just know it might be a culture change.
Culture shift.
Yeah. And that's okay. That's okay. I was not aware of it. It took me a few months to figure it out.
But hey, I think that that's important for people to know. And so for me, when I moved down here, I was like, yeah, I'm ready. Because I came from a place, South Carolina, you only have kind of like 2 or 3 kinds of people, to be honest, where I came from. And so I was looking for diversity, and I was looking for just it's something different. And I love the fact that everybody had a tan, whether you were a chocolate person or whether you're a vanilla person or in between. Like everybody was bronzed, and I really liked that. But you're right, coming from another place, it could be culture shock because it is a very diverse place. And you don't think that with Jacksonville, but it is. It really is.
It is. And I have seen ever since since COVID hit, we have grown in population. Like it is blown up, and it's bringing in other cultures, like a different, like the culture atmosphere is actually changing just in the last couple of years. And it's from New Jersey, New York, place where I was comfortable with like the bluntness, directness, and that's coming in. So so Southerners, I'm sure they're getting a culture shock too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I will tell you, when I think I've told you this before, but when I actually started leaving the house, there's been over 100,000 people who have moved, to Jacksonville.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of people, and I noticed that people did not want to make eye contact, did not want to say hello, and I was like, "Oh, you are so rude." I said hello. You know what I mean? I had that today in the Publix. The cashier, she did not have a Southern accent. I'm saying she just didn't. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm just saying she didn't. And she was just very like, whatever. And she was just like, I can't even remember the question that she asked, but I'm just like, I'm not going to answer until she actually speaks to me like a person. And then she asked me something again, but she actually spoke to me as a person. Then I was just very polite. We had the best conversation after that. But it's like training people to be polite, because down here, stop having all your negative energy. Like, you got the sun, you got the beach, you got air conditioning. This is a place where you can really, there's so much opportunity here. And so to be open, and to be like ready to, receive positivity, I think is just so important coming down here. But this is your interview, not mine. Sorry.
That's okay. But I'm going to speak to that because it can be perceived as negative, but it's actually not negative. It's just their way.
Oh, that's good. I needed that.
It's just their way, because when I lived in New Jersey, because I'm from New Hampshire originally, so I grew up where you go in a store and it was a smaller town. So everyone smiles and says hello.
Yeah.
And, even though we're New England and we're tough and hardy and we deal with really harsh winters, like we still wore smiles on our faces. And when I went to New Jersey and New York, people don't smile. You go into a store, and if you try to make eye contact with someone and smile at someone, they actually like look at you like you're weird. Like, what is wrong with you? Are you going to rob me right now or something? And so when I moved down to Florida, it was, I got that friendliness of walking into a store, perfect strangers saying, hello, how are you? Having a conversation about nothing, and that filled me up. And now I'm seeing the New Jersey come into stores. I've just, the past few weeks when I've gone into Publix or any store, like people had heads down, they're about their business. And it's just the way, because they, but they have goodness of heart, I'm sure, and then when you stop them and get their attention.
Yeah, it was like we had the best conversation this morning. And I was just like, yeah, but the initial was just like,
Yes.
oh no, I'm not even speaking to
Hard
that.
ground.
Yeah, I'm like, not doing it. But get me together, Kate. That's right. No judgment calls on Northerners, but that's a really good point. Because the assumption for me, my initial reaction is like, oh, you are rude.
Yes.
And it might not be that. It's just a different culture.
Right.
You
She's in her business mode, and I had a business mode when I came down here, and
that's good.
I still sometimes get into my business mode, and I
Uh-huh.
work with Southerners, and I have to be very cognizant of, ooh, I'm in business mode right now, but they're in social mode, even though we have a million things to do at work. So it is a mindset change.
That is so funny. You know what? I worked in, and now you guys are getting a conversation because Kate is my friend. But I remember when I worked in South Florida and I worked in Tampa for quite a while, so about 5 or 6 years. And I remember coming up and I finally moved back up here. And so my mom lives right over the state line. And there used to be a Shoney's. It was a Shoney's right there as you cross over Florida-Georgia border. And I remember we had a server kind of came up and she was like, honey, and I love your shirt. And, oh, can I get you anything else? And I was like, when she left, I was like, Mom, what does she want? But I had been in South Florida and everybody in South Florida was from like New York, New Jersey. And I had friends down there. There are people that I actually really liked, but it was a reserve that I had learned,
Yeah.
And then when I got back up here, I was just like, what's wrong with, and you made me think of that story just now. I totally forgot that I had that same reaction. Like, what do you want? I was like, does she want like a really good tip? Like, what's happening right now? Like, oh no, people are nice, like openly nice. You know what I mean? It's not behind like anything. It's not behind a wall or anything like that, or perceived wall. We'll call it that.
Right. There's no agenda.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You
So anyway, very good. Oh, I like that discussion. What about this, Kate? What are some opportunities that you see Jacksonville has?
Oh, there's a lot of opportunities. Downtown is so beautiful. Surround with the river running through it, and all those bridges. Like that's something very unique to Jacksonville. The bridges, and I don't even know the names of them. When someone says a bridge, I have to look it up and find out where they're talking about.
Right.
And but downtown's so beautiful and it's not really utilized at all, and it could be more. There's so much opportunity there. And I think there used to be, people talk about the landing, and that's no more, so that's sad. And I think they are trying to, I can see that it's on people's minds. And you have the talk of the new stadium now, the stadium of the future or whatever they're calling it. And I love that I live in a city where we have a NFL team, that's very exciting. And I've been to a few games, that's very exciting. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for growing downtown.
That's really good.
Yeah.
What are some of the best things about Jacksonville?
The best things. I love that we're spread out. There isn't a lot of people stacked on top of each other like in the cities. This is a very unique city in that it's very got a lot of acreage.
Yeah.
A lot of square footage. I like that.
Yeah.
And just that's opportunity right there in just the physical realm of Jacksonville.
Yeah, lots of places to go.
Yeah. And there's a lot of serving opportunities. I know that the homeless population, that took me by shock actually when I got here. Even though I was coming from New Jersey and New York, where they're everywhere on the streets of Manhattan, so it's kind of easy to start overlooking them. But when I got here, it was a little bit of a shock to me to see people on almost every corner with signs asking for food, asking for help. That took me by surprise. So it still does, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot. Just in the previous episodes, I would say both times what came up was the conversation surrounding volunteerism. And what does that look like? And is there a place like a central hub? Because if you go to a church, it's easy, but the serving opportunities might be a little sparse because nobody's doing it all the time. But is there a hub? Like, is there a place to figure out like how to serve at a deeper level, to connect people at a deeper level. And I know that I mean, I've, done some research. I found a Facebook group, all kinds of things or whatever, but I don't, I don't believe that that is an unsolvable problem. You know what I mean?
I
Like, I
agree.
think that, it can't be, and it can't be just like the few people that have been sitting at this table who have seen it and like are noodling on like, well, how do we, do something about that so that we restore dignity to people,
Exactly. Like I don't
restore
want to,
healing.
right. I don't want to just hand them a 20 here and there and give them
Yeah.
a sandwich here and
And
there,
not
you
affect
know?
their lives. Like, yeah, it's good to give the sandwich,
Right. Do
but
that.
then also like,
And how do you help them get back on their feet?
yes,
Enable them,
yes,
empower them.
empower them. Yeah,
You know, they
exactly.
have a life to live.
Yes.
They are God's
Yeah, made in the
they're
image of
God's
God.
children, and he has a destiny for them.
Mhm.
And what sitting on the street corner is not their destiny. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah,
they have
there's,
a
you
destiny,
got it.
and maybe they need to be reminded of that and just a helping hand in that way. So
Mhm.
I don't know what the answer is. I would love to be part of the solution.
Mhm.
That is a good discussion. And
Yep. I think the answer is coming. I do believe that it's on, a lot of minds. And I think that there's a heart solution to it that can be smart, that can be effective. There are, different missions just in the United States. And, some of them are, religious, like LA Dream Center or, was
mm,
it Pacific Garden Missions or whatever, that have been successful in helping people grow, and come out of homelessness and actually affect their world for change, which is amazing. And so it can be done here too,
it can be done.
you know,
It definitely can be
and
done.
I think it will be done. I think that, if many minds are on it, I believe that it's going to happen.
Hmm.
I really do.
Agreed.
So, Kate, where do you see Jacksonville in the next 5 years?
I don't see the growth stopping anytime
Mm-hmm.
soon. I see more people moving here. I have heard of Jacksonville being called a sanctuary city, whatever that means for the future of our country. Or
Hmm.
so I see more growth in the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
That brings positive and negative things. You know, for
Mm-hmm.
myself, I moved here and I was like, because I could not afford a home in New Jersey on the salary that I was making there. And then I
Okay.
thought, oh, I'm going to move to Florida, you know, and homes are more affordable there. And the last 3 years, they are not affordable.
It's getting a little crazy. It's getting a little crazy right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
So that's what I see when I think about Jacksonville in the next 5 years. I look at what's happened in the past 2 to 3 years, and I think there's
Mhm.
going to be more of that.
Mhm.
So
Do you think that salaries will follow though?
I think they, at least for me, I don't know if I just have been blessed, but
Mhm.
or if it's something that's happening. I would hope that they would. I would
Mhm.
hope that salaries would follow the cost of living, because the
Mhm.
cost of living has gone up.
Mhm.
And I know, so the Lord blessed me with that job at
Mhm.
Patriot Rail, and then He blessed me with the job I have now, which I've
Mhm.
been just a little over a year, and
Mhm.
um, my salary has been increased quite a lot in the last 2 years.
Mhm.
And so that is my hope, that for
Yeah.
everyone, that
Yeah.
the cost, your salary follows the cost of living.
Mhm.
So it's not paycheck to paycheck, it's
Yeah,
thriving.
thriving. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, Kate, do you have any final words for the podcast today?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me on. And I love that you're doing this, because especially when COVID happened and we went behind closed doors,
Mhm.
and I know for myself, I'm like, how did I used to have fun? I was never
I
home this much. How did I used to have fun before?
know.
And so it's getting out the door
Mhm.
and knowing where to go to meet the right people,
Mhm.
and
I love
having,
that.
yeah, making connections. So this is
Yes.
a great start if
Yeah.
people are looking for that. So thank you, Shannon, for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for being a part of it and believing in it, because I think that community is, and I keep saying it, there are plenty of things that are happening in Jacksonville. Let's be real. There's so much happening
So
all the
much.
time.
Yeah.
But the part about it is, how do you connect with people? Like, how do you make those friends? How do you grow your group? And then how do you grow the community at large? It's like growing friend group that connect, and then growing friend group. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's how you, and then just that mutual respect. Because to your point, there is a lot of diversity, and it's not when I say diversity, I'm not just talking about race. I'm talking about mindset. I'm talking about socioeconomic economic status. I'm talking about all of those things. And so then how do we show mutual respect to each other so that this city is really known for something positive, something beautiful? And I mean, I really do believe that it starts with saying, hey, you know what I mean? And so I appreciate you. I appreciate your candidness and your honesty. I really appreciate the conversation today.
I enjoyed our
good.
conversation. I always enjoy my conversations with you.
Yes.
Fills up the soul.
I completely agree, you know, and maybe one day we can have another conversation, Kate. That would be fantastic.
Love that.
You know, maybe we'll be talking about our volunteer hub or something like that. So
love that.
That would be cool, right? Yes. All right. Well, with that being said, I am your host, Shan. I go by Sunny. And now that we've met, you can say hey.
Hey.
Thanks so much for listening to the Say Hey Jax podcast. Got something to say? Email us at heythere@sayheyjax.com. Like, share, subscribe.